All right, so
All right.
we went from the peak of things to the valley.
Yeah, here we go.
I
Yeah.
was excited about this one for a while, though.
Excited? This makes
Well-
you excited?
Excited as in I was told this story, and I was hoping that the person would be okay with me sharing it, because I feel like these kinds of things need to be talked about, and it's good for people to know how things can go wrong and where they can go wrong.
Yeah,
You
you're
know?
not wrong.
And this is one of the worst ones yet. Like this, I don't know if this is as bad as the first blackout fails we did, but it's on that line.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, so I'll start with the email. Okay, here we go. So this is obviously my first session on Blackout. I have been tattooed many times before, but not like this. After the artist finished, he poured ink all over the top of my arm and rubbed it in. It burned, so I told him to stop. The places he rubbed the ink scabbed really bad, and the places the ink wasn't rubbed didn't and feels normal. They use an ink made by a local guy in the area, and I haven't had problems with it before, but when he rubbed it in, it was so painful, and it's been throbbing pain ever since. Now it's peeling too early, and I don't know what to do.
This doesn't sound like a tattoo session. It sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah.
Please stop rubbing the ink in.
Yeah. I mean,
Jesus Christ.
okay, where do you want to start with this?
Well, first off, what do you think of the ink bath thing?
I think it's a trendy thing that
Yeah.
I don't understand why people are
Seeing
doing.
this thing come back now.
Yeah.
Like people, like, they'll start with this huge blobby mess, and then they wipe it off, and it's a tattoo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know that that's doing anything.
I mean, like, okay, no, but at the same time, I think the theory is that the pores are open.
Yeah.
So when you're dealing with blackout, whatever, a little more ink doesn't really hurt. I think it's just a show thing. I don't think it's like, I don't know.
We're using it like a foam reveal.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean?
Exactly. It's like a spooky foam reveal. You know what I mean?
Gross.
Yeah. I think so. I've always thought that. It's just like, ugh. I don't think
never
that's
done it.
necessary.
Yeah.
But whatever, I get showmanship is a thing. So, I mean, okay, the ink thing, let's start there. So,
Shall we?
they're using ink from a guy. Now, that sounds really messed up, right? But I will say, like, one of the largest, like, a very large ink producer named Silverback Ink, that whole company
He's
is...
just a dude.
That whole company is 3 guys, and he, the guy who owns it, is the only guy who makes the ink. So, saying it was made by a guy, not exactly the worst thing if you're getting it from a legit source that has all the right sterilization
I would want to
processes.
know what brand.
If it's a brand.
If it's a brand.
Yeah, it might just be a local thing.
Yeah.
It might just be a big vat.
Yeah, a vat of toxic sludge.
Yeah, really.
By the look of what happened here.
Well, okay.
There's all kinds of problems, though.
So, like,
It's hard to say.
he got overworked in the top of his forearm.
Yeah.
And, like, there's a video in here if you want to see it.
Yeah,
but,
let's put the video on.
So, anyways, he's doing the whole like thing that's really popular in the blackout community, right? Like he's running a coil in this respect, which isn't a make or break or anything, but he's running at it the way that those guys do.
Yep.
Which is like the really heavy shovel.
Yeah, they're skating around the arm like real painterly looking approach.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, that's dudes who've done that for 10,000 hours.
Yeah, they've got massive control of that thing.
Yeah, insane control. They know exactly what they're doing and exactly what they're feeling.
Where they are in the skin and all that.
And there's portions of this arm that are done nicely, which are like the less squishy portions of the arm. And then when it comes to this top portion of the arm, it's just not put in the same way.
You think they're not adjusting their depth or their voltage, or what do you think it is?
I think that the skin is providing more resistance, and they're not changing, so they're going over too many passes and they're overworking it. I think that's why he's getting the red. I don't think the ink pouring into it was a good thing, but at the same time, I think it's those areas were overworked, and therefore they were more prone to infection, which most likely came after you left the shop. More than likely. That's usually when it would happen. Like the pouring the ink...
Just a gaping wound, and just about anything could get in there.
Because really the pouring of the ink, unless his gloves were contaminated in some way, shape, or form, but again, like that would have been a way worse situation.
The risk factors for blackout go up exponentially.
Yeah,
The only
100%.
two times I've had real tattoo infections were blackouts.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they
it's
were
a whole
both
nother
bad.
level.
Yeah. It's
Whole
got too
nother
much
level.
risk level of like things going wrong.
And like, I mean, the guy is not approaching it. He's approaching it in an aggressive form.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, for sure. It makes
So it's
sense.
one of those, like, if you're going to approach it aggressively, you will probably get an aggressive result. Unless you are
It's
just
not the result you want.
no, but not
Like
usually.
A nice heel, please.
Not usually, yeah. But there's like this attitude towards Blackout that's like,
Yeah,
yeah, I
destroyed him.
gotta, yeah,
He's dead now.
yeah.
I beat him to death with a shovel.
And like, I don't know. For me, I would just want it to look like a nice Blackout at the end of it.
That's the whole brutal black project thing. It gave us this idea that it wasn't just a tattoo session.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
most times it is.
Well, I think it should be.
It's still a surgical procedure.
Yeah, we're still breaking the skin.
We're not trying to cut the person open and leave them for dead.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what you get when you tattoo this way, I feel like.
I mean, it's a higher possibility, unless you are some sort of phenom with it.
So, yeah, he sends me these pictures. And he's like, is this normal kind of thing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, God, no. Get an antibiotic.
Yeah, I mean, he got to a place where, like, you know, overworked, and he's got a bacterial infection going on.
Yeah.
Antibiotics definitely necessary because this will only get worse. And like he said something in that email that leads me to believe that there was a bacterial situation introduced because he said it's hot when I touch it.
Yeah.
He's touching it.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. No,
This is a
we've
problem.
seen this where they make it worse.
Yeah,
Right? This probably got worse and worse as time goes on.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I'm not going to put all the onus on him, but
No,
some.
it's like it
But,
takes
like,
two to tango, you
it's
know.
also because, like, again, a blackout tattoo is harder to heal, right?
Yes.
So, like, anything small sticker that you get, it's like, yeah, you can probably fuck around with that pretty well endlessly and
Yeah.
not have any problems because the skin is so. Skin's pretty strong. It's
Yeah.
pretty sturdy. You can take a beating, you know, it can come back. But when you've got this big gaping wound covering most of a limb, it's like, man, that thing needs to be left alone.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You got to be fucking babying that.
Yep.
Like, you got to let that be. Chill, son.
I mean, the thing is, like, I would hope that the maybe I would hope that the dialogue between artist and tattooee comes up a little bit because, like, that's information for the artist to know. Like, hey, this part feels different than this part. Because, like, then maybe the tattooer could help him understand what's about to.
I just think that it's just such a. The whole industry is every man for himself, you know?
Yeah.
It's too much of, like, this guy does it this way, that guy does it that. Like, there's too many of those for it to ever kind of all come up.
Yeah.
Like, it's always got to be on an individual level, right? Like, one artist might be better at those sorts of things than another. And I don't know how you ever get the whole industry up to code. It's not like you go see a doctor and they all, you know, they can't say certain things. They can't recommend certain things. You know, there's certain things they're pushed direct. Like, that whole thing is really, really set, right? In most fields, there's an established order to things.
Yeah.
Tattooing doesn't really have that still.
Yeah.
It doesn't. There are some loose ideas, as we went over in the last video. You can't go light over dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all know this.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody believes it.
But as far as, like, technique goes, there's more than one way of making an omelet. You know
Well,
what
I mean, there in many respects there is.
Yeah,
You know?
I know.
And like,
But that's part of how you get this, though.
yeah, yeah, and like, I don't know. I think the having the desired result be the best result is probably paramount and like should be placed on the tattooer. There is this dichotomy between the tattooer and the tattooee that doesn't get talked about enough, which is like. There's a level of information that I think some tattooers think the person they're tattooing has.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a blackout, you getting a blackout and him getting a blackout are two different things.
Yeah, of
right?
course.
You've already gone through all of this type of thing to have an understanding and a knowledge of what to have, right? Whereas if you don't have large scale, large saturation tattoos and you don't know what to expect, you're more likely prone to get something like this. Not putting it as like, oh, this guy has no idea how to
Well,
heal a
yeah.
tattoo, but this is another level up. And I think like the tattooer should not assume that.
Well, but part of the other problem is like we see shows like Ink Master and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Where we're just talking about the pretty picture.
Yeah.
All we do is show off the pretty picture.
Yeah.
Like, I show off step by step, and I do vlogs step by step, and go in depth about every part of it. Mm-hmm. And like, it's some ways to my detriment to do that too, because people will see things in motion, like this chess piece that we're working on now for fuck knows how long, and they're like, "But it's not done yet. It's never gonna be good." But like that kind of shit.
Yep.
Where it's like, yeah, well, this is what gets you people showing finished products and never explaining anything.
Yeah.
These people that come out of the woodworks with, well, all that is some lines. Those are the people that have dictated what gets put where.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, where there's no information sharing, because people don't want to see what goes into the sausage.
Yeah.
They
yeah,
just
you're
want
not wrong.
the pretty picture at the end, right? Well, this is what gets from that. This is what you get from that.
It's just sad, though, you know? It's one of those, like, I wish there was just better resource. And, I mean, it's partly why we do this, you know what I mean? Like, we're trying to provide more resource out there, a little bit more knowledge in the readily available side of information, you know?
Desperately needed. I will say one final thing on this is Buddy's arm still doesn't feel normal yet. It's been about 3 months.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to feel quite normal for a while.
No. It took, like, I mean, when I had that infection on my arm, like, that took months and months to feel like a normal arm. Like, I still had weird tingly sensations and things in it for a long time.
Which, to be fair, I mean, and not to knock it, he was talking about doing geometric white lines over top of it, and I was thinking, maybe this will give you some time to think that out.
Maybe you can watch that, you can see that color cat thing, and then maybe go, well,
Yeah,
maybe
then
I won't do that.
Steer you in a better direction.
Yeah, maybe we won't do some geometry over this.
Especially with something with tons of scar tissue, it's going to be a little hard to distinguish a white line from a scar. You know what I mean?
Well, and when this is all settled and feeling normal again, he's going to have to go back into it again, which he's not going to want to do.
No.
This
It's
is
gonna
like
feel
a
way worse.
Well, and you get like a little kind of PTSD thing from this. You know what I mean? Like, this is a traumatic thing to
Anytime I
go
work
through.
on my knuckles on my right hand,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, that pang of like memory of how bad it was.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah,
then it burns, you know.
yeah, you're not wrong. Well, good luck, man. Let us know how the next one goes. And yeah,